All right.
Hello,
We are,
world.
yes, we are live. Hello, world. Um, so last class we finished up with king checkers. So if I move this checker from here to here, then I can move that checker there and it becomes a king checker. I can also remove that checker and it stays a king checker, um, as long as it exists because that's an attribute that we have set on the checker, the representation of the checker object, right, in the data structure, in the checkers data structure. Okay, so, and I believe we got that working if we put a, yep. So if we bring one of those down there, then so we've got it working for white and black, and we basically have a working checkers board at this point. Okay. One interesting thing about this that I'm going to show you guys, and is that it actually wouldn't be too difficult to export the game state. Um, checkers. All right. So I've got this, all of this, right? So let me see if I can do console.log, and I'm going to do checkers. See if this will work the way I want it to. Yes. Oh, no, it doesn't. Unfortunate. I have to actually, I think I have to stringify it. Well, I'll just show you guys what I'm talking about. So let me go into WebStorm. All right, and on our board, I can do in checkers.js function export and then I'll do checkers. Actually, log JSON. I think it's JSON dot stringify, and then I pass in checkers like that. What is it complaining about? Function. Oh, maybe. Oh, export's a reserve word. So export checkers. All right, so got that. So now let me go ahead over here and refresh this page. And I'm going to type export checkers, and I get all this, right? Okay, so I get this. Now let me copy that. Now there's something that you guys should know about called JSON lint. Linting is the process of, it's not what you find in your pocket. I mean, it is what you find in your pocket, but it is also the process of going through code and like beautifying it and cleaning it up and things like that. So if I paste that string here and then I hit validate JSON, it lets me know that it is valid JSON. That and it also makes it look nice and neat in a specific conventional format. Okay, but the what I'm more interested in is if I go over here to checkers and then I type, actually let me make a couple of changes. So I'm going to remove that and I'm going to put this one here and I'm going to put this one there and I'll put this one there and I'll put this one here, right? Okay, now I want to export the checkers a little more. Export checkers. You grab that. All right, so I got my checkers here. Now I'm going to open up another version of this. All right, and then over here I type checkers gets this, enter, and then render checkers. So that I just copied one board to another by sending the data structure, the JSON representation of the board state, right? Does that make sense? So this whole thing, like that chunk of JSON right there, remember JSON is JavaScript object notation, that is your board, right? That is all the information that's necessary. That's the only things that can differ between boards, is everything in that list. Everything else is, how do I render that? Everything else that we've done is, how do I render? How do I move a checker? How do I do this? But your state at any one point is contained in this checkers object. Okay? The reason why that's interesting is we could, in fact, that may even be short enough to put into a URL, but you could, certainly pass in the ability, like you could email your board to someone, and then they could make a move and export it and email it to you, right? And you could play, right? Now or text it to each other or whatever, right? Or create a link, right? Where you could share it, okay? So, and obviously the easiest thing, and would you, John, will you grab that door? But what I wanted you to understand is, like, these two completely different browsers are sharing the same board state, okay? Because I shared that same data with them. But if I had a third, and I'm going to use a little window here, right? You can see how I've got this browser, and it doesn't matter whose computer that browser is on. If I had, so let's say this is Jesse's computer, and this is Ava's computer over here, and they're bored, so they're playing checkers. Okay. Now they could email that, that JSON back and forth, to each other and play checkers that way. Or what would be really nice is if there was a third computer that kind of sat between the two of them, and that they could both talk to, right? So when Jesse made a change, it passed that change back to this computer, and when Ava made a change, right? That's how modern web applications work, okay? I go to Gmail. When I go to Gmail, Gmail has some state about my email, but it's stored on that third computer, right? And so someone sends me an email, that doesn't come to me, it goes to Gmail, okay? And that's what it means by in the cloud, right? What that fancy word means is it's on someone else's computer. It's a public computer. It's on a server, okay? But that would be, you can see how we're only one small step away from making this from a web page to a web application, okay? And it's the ability to share that. Now that things do start to get significantly more complex in that state, okay? But it is at least conceivable at this point that that this is, that we could do this. You can see how I already shared that state. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to. I think I'll leave off there with checkers. Okay, I don't think we want to add a server yet. If you are intrigued by the idea of adding a server to this, I can help walk you through what that would look like. Okay. And then there's some tools, like some fun tools, like Firebase is one, where you can, it's a free tool, and you can just integrate it straight with the web page and store your checker game there, and then you would be able to give someone else a link to that checker game, and then you'd both be kind of sharing the checker game state. Okay, kind of fun. And so there's there's some options there for how to do that. Okay, or even one thing that's possible. Base 64 encode. I don't know if this would make the URL too long. We'd have to try it. But I want to, yes. All right, yeah, actually I think that would fit. I think that would probably fit. Okay, so I could take this, okay. Base 64 encoding is, well, whatever. It's just a certain way of encode it, that a very common, easy way. It's not like it's encrypted. It is not encrypted. It's encoded, okay? Which is the difference being that other people know how to decode it. It's understandable how to decode it, okay? So I could probably pass a URL with this string on it. Like we could get it to that point where we could you'd be able to share the game state that way, okay? So that's an option too, okay? And the nice thing about that is that doesn't, now you're just sharing a link between two computers, which you could text, and then you tap the link and then it pops up on someone else's phone, okay? Which is kind of cool. And that doesn't require that third server, right? But the data has to be relatively small, and a checkers board is relatively small, okay? So anyway, that's an option that I might actually fiddle with that between now and next class, but I don't want to fiddle with it in front of you guys. But basically, that you would send this over, and then you would switch to decode on the other side. They would paste this text in. I mean, you wouldn't actually have to paste this in. JavaScript can do it fairly easily. Can do the base 64 encoding and decoding. So anyway, I'll set that off to the side because I want to talk a little bit about chess. Oh, sorry, one more thing I want to talk about checkers. Okay, on the forum, you guys I'm sure have looked at the forum. I want to talk about embedding. Okay, so I hit forum, and then I must hit the wrong button. Web development. Oh, we've got like maybe, oh no, Algebra's beating us. They have more threads than we do. Sadness. All right, but their threads are not as interesting as ours because in the forum, I can play chess.
Yay.
Yeah. Who else could play a game in their forum? Nobody. So, anyhow, howdy doody. All right. So, if your parents want to see what you did this class, here's a way to do it. But how did I do that? Okay. Basically, I went into board.html and I created embed.html, and basically all I did was I stripped out the header. Okay. In fact, it added this stupid header back for me, which I don't want. Look, get it all. Oh wait, maybe I did need that. Maybe I did need all that. Yeah. So this is a little bit different because, yeah, I did need this header. I stripped out the header, and then I put in the actual URLs for the files up on GitHub. Okay. So if I was actually to take this board.css and I put it into a browser over here, so that's up on GitHub, and I hit enter, and then I see like that's the CSS file. Okay. So that's the board.css file, but it's board.css out on the internet. Does that make sense? Because I've uploaded it to GitHub. Well, you guys could do the exact same thing with your GitHub file. So if any of you guys wanted to, to share or display it, then just let me know, and I can kind of help you through what that looks like. But this will be committed as well. I'll commit this to the repository, and you can see, how to, like, what an embeddable version looks like. And then I just seriously just went into the forum, edit this message, and wait for it to load. Go to the source, and up on all I did was iframe. I iframed this from GitHub, the actual board. Okay, so that is an iframe. So an iframe is basically a web page inside of a web page. Okay, so this is when I commit my files up to GitHub, it updates this, and so then inside the forum, I just put that iframe in there and said, hey, go get this web page and show it inside of this web page that you're already in. Okay?
Web page within a web page.
A web page within a web page.
Meaning web page within a web page within a web page.
You can do it.
So
yes, yes. So I don't recommend it, but it's like Inception.
Have fun pulling that up on a phone.
Yeah. Yeah. So so anyway, that is pretty much that. I'm going to go ahead and close that for now. But if you guys are interested in showing off your checkerboard, let me know, because I know that the like I was talking with Miss White about it, and she was saying that she would love to put some up on the website or whatever. So if you guys are interested in that, I can help make sure they're all cleaned up on GitHub, and so that they're ready to be embedded. And then all I need is URLs for them, and then we can share them in the forum at least, or on the actual website. So, all right. So that's enough for checkers for now. And we will we'll leave that off for now, and now we're going to fiddle with another wonderful game called chess. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. You need to keep that. Get rid of that. And there's chess. Hold on, let me drop checkers off here for now. All right. So chess looks an awful lot like another game that we just put together, huh? Okay.
Chess checkers. It's a combination of both games.
Well, I was trying to think of like, what am I going to do to find some nice looking chess pieces? But then it occurred to me, and it should probably have occurred to you in the last class when I was trying to find the king checker, right? That one of the icons was Chess King from Font Awesome, okay? And if they have a chess king, they probably have a chess knight and a chess bishop and a chess pawn and a chess rook and all of that. And so Font Awesome would be one perfectly valid place for you to get chess pieces, and you'd be able to get all of them for free with relatively little effort. Okay, but it wouldn't be terribly inventive or creative. Okay, so I'm still hoping Luke comes through on my Avengers chess set. So we'll see. But when I put them just right on the board, they seemed a little flat. On a board that feels kind of three-dimensional, it just really flattened it out. And I was like, huh, well, what if I put them on top of the ghost stones, kind of like as if they were, like a set of ghost stones that had the symbols etched in the top of them. Like that would be kind of a cool chess set. So that's kind of what I went for. It came off okay, especially for the amount of effort that I put into it, which was not a lot. Okay, I think this was done. It was certainly done last Thursday, but it might have even been before I left here last Thursday. It was pretty close. Let's go ahead and take a look at how I did that and what changes I made. So first thing I did, let me bring up a Finder window. First thing I did was I went over and I made a copy of the ACA checkers, the whole checkers folder. Copied it and I called it ACA Chess. Go figure, huh? And it's got very similar image, everything. Everything is the same in there. In fact, you even have like images that we're not even using, like the America's Ghost Stone and Europe Ghost Stone. I forgot we even had those. Those are kind of cool looking. But there's my white Ghost Stone, my gray marble, my white marble, my black Ghost Stone, right? All that good stuff. Okay. So all in my chessboard. So I made a copy of that and started a new project, a new WebStorm project, and here it is. Okay, and then I started editing. Okay, and I haven't made a whole bunch. I changed checkers.js to pieces.js because checkers.js wasn't appropriate anymore. But if you notice, I still have render checkers. I still call this checkers. Okay, so those would be some changes. First, I wanted to get it to work. But those would be some refactory changes that would need to happen, just to make sure that your code is semantic. Does it work? Yes, it works. But should you name your array of pieces? Should you name it checkers? No, you should not do that. Okay, so from there, in here in render checkers, obviously that was going to need to change a little bit. Well, first off, in my pieces, I had to add a type. Okay, and remember the other ones had in checkers you had isKing, which I would add. So now this just all of them have type. Okay, and when I render the actual checker down here, okay, the class for the icon inside of it is FA, FHS, dash, and whatever the type is. So it'll be FHS-pawn, FHS-bishop, FHS.queen, right? And that's how I got that. Okay. Couple other changes that I made. So that gets the icons in there. Then I had some issues with getting it properly centered, but I addressed those in the Chess King video. So the way I got the Chess King centered was the exact same way that I got these guys centered, and that was in board.css, and using Flexbox to get those centered the way I wanted them to. Change the color. Remember, color just refers to the text color, so I changed the color for the white checker to be a little darker, and the black checker to be the black pieces to have a little bit lighter, so that would show up well on their piece. And other than that, like I said, I did change the display to flex, but I did that one in checkers as well. That's pretty much it. And now there's a, and because I didn't implement a bunch of rules, right? I pretty much have a chessboard. I can go, all right, so knight to there. Oops. Oh, that's right. I don't think I added the ability to move to white spaces yet. So that's one that needs to happen, is the ability to move to a white space. So maybe we can fiddle with that a little bit today. And then maybe I'll come back to maybe on Thursday I'll come back to sharing the checkers board, because I really want to be able to do that. I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't have any illusions that you guys are actually going to play checkers with each other over the internet, but it would be cool to know that you could if you wanted to. Okay, especially that'd be really funny. You could post. We could have checker games that were going on the forum, and you could play your move and post the link to your move in there, and then everybody could click on it and see what move you made. But then of course only one person could post the answer, or maybe everybody could. You could kind of play against everyone. Well, what move would you make? So
you could make a puzzle with chess if you did this with chess, and then you could say what's the best move in this position.
Or we could have teams. It'd be like speed checkers, and whoever got to whichever person on the white team posted their move first got to make it. Anyway, we digress. Maybe we'll figure that out. So I'll talk about that next class. But what we will be doing for next class, though, is we are going to be able to embed your stuff. Okay, so make sure that you got your code at least committed up to GitHub. Okay. Should all be committed up there. That shouldn't be an issue. And then we'll work on the next step in that, which I could probably let me go on GitHub actually and show you what the next step is. So ACA checkers. It's actually really, really easy to host your stuff on GitHub. So I'm on the ACA checkers. Okay. What you need to do is you need to create a branch. Interestingly, I have 6 different branches, but this branch is very, very important. GH-pages. So you create a branch in your checkers called GH pages. Okay. And if a GitHub repo has a branch called GH-pages, it will host that. Okay. And you can find the page where it will host it if you go to the settings for that repo and you scroll on down through the settings. You see this little green box. If you just click on that guy, I'm going to control click so it opens, or command click, and it shows you the README as a web page. Okay. But everything else is still under there, just like now I created links to make it easier, like play checkers. But you'll notice that just if you look at the bottom of the page, it just goes to board.html. Okay, so if I got rid of this, it's just the root of my project, and if you go to the root of the project, it shows the README. Okay, the README.md, which you might not have a README.md, and if you don't, you'll just get meh, right? But then, and that's okay, because then you would just type in board.html, board.html, and you hit enter, and your board comes up. Does that make sense? Okay, so step number 1, add a branch called GH pages to your, and adding the branch is really, really easy. Let's open up GitHub Desktop. I'm kind of doing this a little bit in backwards order today because I've already done it. I apologize. There's not really an easy way for me to undo making your branch. But the current branch right here. But if you want to do a new branch, boom, you type in GH-pages and you do create a new branch. Okay, and it will create that branch, and then you just push. Whoops, I clicked out of. Then you would just push that branch up to master, up to, so that'd be the next step, push, or Command P if you're on a Mac, probably Control P if you're on a non-real computer. Sorry, I said that out loud.
I use Linux anyway.
So, yeah, he has more hair on his chest because he uses Linux. So
Yes.
if you want hair on your chest, use Linux.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. It's not magic. It's Linux.
Yeah.
So, all right. I digress. So create a branch. Right. Go here. New. GH pages. Type new branch. It'll open up a new branch. Push it up to GitHub, and then when you go up to your GitHub repo, in the settings, you'll see this. You can click on that. Add board.html to the end, and you should see your checkers board on the internet. Whoa! Okay, pretty cool, huh? All right, and then the last step in that process. Let me go back to ACA checkers real quick. The last step in that process. I know this is one of the weird times where I'm not actually coding it in front of you, but you can look at my embed.html in my repo. But the last step in the process is to go through where you've got things linked, like this script. Now that's jQuery, so that's good. But where you have things that are going to, here you go, like checkers.js and board.js, right? Those are relative links. Okay, so what you have to do is and also you're also going to see it in your images as well. Okay. So what you'll need to do is you need to go through and change those to, https://sharptopcode.github.io/ACA checkers or what. But this right here is going to be the base URL for your website. Okay. And but before you do it, you should actually be able to take the, and open it on the internet in your browser. You should be able to see that CSS file or that image or that, JavaScript file or whatever. Okay, does that make sense? And then once you've got that working, over here where you're like I said, you start here, and then you could just type in, checkers.js, and why is that wrong? Obviously, I typed something a little bit wrong.
Oh, you did checkers, not checker.
Checker.js.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Checker.js. All right. So that's why I was wrong. But you'll just go in there and you'll type the names of your files. Boom. They should pop up. Then you can. Then this link right here is the link that gets pasted in there. Okay. And when it's not working, if it doesn't work, your page won't load, and you'll go into the console and you'll see can't find board.js. So anyway, we can work on it a little bit on Thursday, but I want you guys to at least get your stuff committed up to GitHub, get a GH-pages branch created, and we can kind of work through getting your stuff up on the internet. Okay? Because I want to at least get them all posted to our forum. Okay? Because whatever, it'd be fun. That way I've got them. I can look at them. All right, and if you are interested in putting them on the website, let me know, because I won't make anybody display theirs on the website, obviously, but Miss White was interested in maybe displaying your hard work. All right, so that's that. Let's see if we can't make some changes really quick to our chessboard, okay? So that we can move pieces. Now, why can't we move pieces to... Why can't I move this knight here? Anybody? Hope. Yes, thank you for volunteering. Why can't I move that knight? Well, if I've got this knight selected, right? Oops. Now I moved him, all right. So I've got him selected. Why...
Because you can only move on black.
I can only move on black. All right, very good.
That's what I said.
Yes.
There's nothing in the white.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's your little sister, right? So everything she knows, you probably taught her. Yeah, absolutely. So anything that she does good, you get credit for. All right, you bet. Anything she does bad, you get credit for that too. Or you could blame it on bad parenting. So, but then I'll let you fight that out with your folks. Zoe doesn't do anything wrong though, so yeah. All right. Yes. So specifically you can only do it on black, but why can you only do it on black?
That's a good
We
question.
set it up for checkers.
That's how we set it up for checkers. And what does that mean? What is the difference between black and white? Oh boy, I'm asking for it there. Yeah. But what's different about these cells that makes it so I can't? Like, what's missing in this white cell? Pigment. Boom. All right. No, seriously. What JavaScript thingy is missing? Well, how does this know that I want to move it to, what would I do to this black cell to let the board know I want to move something here? What would I do? Do I just look at it? No. Come on. What do I have to do? What's the next step? I've selected a checker. Now, how do I get it to move here?
You have to click on a black cell.
I have to
click on a white cell, then that doesn't
Right?
do anything.
So I have to click on it, right? It's like there's something waiting or listening to handle a click. What would that thing be called?
Click handler.
A click handler. Yes, the black cells have click handlers, right?
Everyone gets a golf clap.
Yay! All right. So if we go look at
Good show.
board.js, right? We will see somewhere. Oh, it's in render checkers. which will one day become render pieces. So, where are you? Oh, here we go. Black cell. Click, move checker here. Right?
Right.
So, I could say, could I do that? Shall we see what happens? Click here. Hey! It's that easy.
Yeah.
Okay? But it's actually even easier than that. Okay? Because why am I going to say put if black cells, when you click on a black cell, move a checker there, and when you click on a white cell, move a checker there. Isn't there an easier way to say that?
You could just put like dot cell.
Dot cell. Very good. Very good, Caleb.
Thank you.
All right. Save that. Refresh the page. Yeah. So when I click on any cell, I move a checker there. Oh, that was a very interesting effect. Oh, because we're not clearing white cells.
Lots of nights.
Because there's not actually, look, now if I click here, I can't actually get rid of it. Because it's not really there. Oh, so weird. No, actually, if I click here, haha, check that out. That is some cool. So if I click on any one of these, it affects where the actual thing is. So that is so cool. That's a weird game of checkers or chess. All right, so we should probably not do that. Okay. So the problem is that when we clear the cells, we're not clearing, those guys aren't getting cleared out. Okay. Why are they not getting cleared out? Where would we look to see why those aren't getting cleared out?
The clear board.
The clear board function, which is probably on board.js, right?
Yeah, probably.
Clear board. What is it?
It's just black cell.
Ah,
We're only clearing black cells.
we're only clearing the black cells. And unbinding the click handlers. So let's try that. See if it don't work no more better. Hey, it still doesn't work. It's pretty cool though.
Lots of nights. You can win pretty easily.
And then I start. Love it. Do that here. I don't know why it always strange. It's hard to tell the white cells are selected or not. Like this one still has the selected thing around it. But that didn't work the way that I thought it was going to, which is oh, looks like it didn't load properly. Because now it is working. Okay, sometimes that happens, guys. Sometimes you make a change, you're like, why didn't it work? Well, it didn't refresh. And that the reason for that, guys, is that the browsers cache web pages, because typically web pages don't change. So they'll pull down the JavaScript and they'll pull down the CSS and they'll pull down things for a web page. They're called, we call them assets, images, CSS, JavaScript, all the things that are loaded by a web page. And then when I go to the web page again, it's like, oh, I already got that on the hard drive. Like, why am I going to go out to the internet to pull this image down when I've already pulled it down and saved it on the hard drive? Okay, that's great, except when you change it, when you change the official version of that web page, and then someone loads a cached version, and and that, but mostly that doesn't happen very often because caches only last for a certain amount of time, and web pages don't change all that often. And usually you don't really care that much if you change a web page and somebody, like for 12 hours, somebody's getting old stuff. Like what's the likelihood they're going to come back to your web page in 12 hours anyway? or that it's going to make that big of a difference. But so usually you don't care that much, but it definitely happens a lot when you're doing development. So if something like that, like, man, I thought I made that change and it should be working and it's not, you can do, if you open the developer tools, what I did was on my box I did Command-Shift-R, which does a hard refresh. But if you just open the developer tools and you right click, then you can do different types of reload, like normal reload, hard reload, which is the one I did, Command-Shift-R, okay, or empty cache and reload, and that is the like heavyweight, like clear everything out, reload this website. So, and you can see it takes a little bit longer because it's loading all of those images again and pulling them all down. So, and it also takes time just to delete the cache. So, I'm going to let that. I'm actually surprised it's taking that long, but I don't care. All right, so now we have a pretty functional chessboard, right? I open here, maybe black counters. I think we need to do something about selecting. Oh, there, the reload's finally happening. Selecting on the white is very difficult to see, right? So I think we probably need to change what selected looks like for white cells. Okay, maybe we use 50% black instead of 50% white on the black cells. So if we go over to our CSS, got a few more minutes. Selected. All right. And the thing that is selected is the checker, right? So if I inspect this, okay, yeah, the checker item itself is what gets selected because then it gets that circular border. So if I move that to a white cell, let me inspect that. So if I was to change, where is checker? Where's selected? Oh, now it's selected. All right. It's got a border, and it's solid white, 255, 255, 255, and 50%. So if instead I made it solid black, so then my checker looks, and I can actually tell, when I was using white I couldn't tell this little ring around there, which I think is actually light shading, but it looks like the actual image has a little bit of a white background there, which kind of stinks that that's like that. But I'm not a designer, and I'm not going to fiddle with that too hard. But it looks like it's transparent, because when I only see it when it's on the white, but there's a little bit of a transparent, background behind it. Anyhow, but that's definitely more visible, and it's not that bad actually on the black. It's more visible in both places. That's probably the easiest move is just to change board.css to highlight with black instead of white. I could probably get rid of something. Where is something anyway? Is it? Let's get rid of that. All this time that silly thing's been there. There it is. Something. There we go. All right. Yeah. So that's not so bad. I'd say it's functional.
There's some weird moves, though.
What's that?
There's some weird moves, though.
Those are some weird moves. That's true. Okay. But same thing, I could export the state of this just as easily as I could. Now there's more pieces than there are on a checkerboard, so it's going to be more data, but it would be just as easy for me to export the game state by dumping that JSON to a string and then passing that string around. Okay?
Pretty cool. We have chess.
We have
A
chess
whole chess game.
just like that. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
once you have the abstractions, right? Once you've got the abstractions, then it's relatively easy to kind of change some of the rules. That's the nice thing about working with software, right? As opposed to hardware. It would be relatively difficult to go from checkers to chess because you would actually have to make all those pieces. But, you know, but other than that, the mechanics of the game are not all that difficult and that different. Okay, so I think that's probably good for today. We're about 10 minutes to the hour. Okay, so for next class, make sure you got your updated projects up on GitHub and that they're working, and you can king checkers and all of that good stuff. Okay, and then I'd like for you guys to build a chessboard. Okay, I'll put my chessboard up on GitHub as well. It'll be in the same place as ACA Chess is, except it'll be called ACA Checkers. It'll just be called ACA Chess, but in the Sharptop repo. So make a chessboard. You should already have the pieces. So if you don't, get pieces. And if you want to go the easy route and just use fun, awesome pieces, okay, fine. I will just roll my eyes and think bad things about you. So that's for class on Thursday. Build a chessboard, just like that. I want you to be able to move on white, okay, and not for weirdisms to happen, But other than that, shouldn't be too hard. So build a chessboard, and if I was to look at the code of your chessboard, it should make sense. In other words, I shouldn't see the word checkers everywhere, okay? And if you have white pieces, they shouldn't be called red checkers, okay? Things like that, all right? So your code should make sense. It should be what we call semantic, okay? Chessboard by Thursday, and have your checkers, have all of it up on GitHub, okay? Cool beans? Yes, ma'am.
2 things. Are we gonna do the papers?
Papers. What are those papers?
What papers are those?
Well, let me
Class valuation, right?
let me close the video off, and then because the parents probably don't need to see that. Like, cool that there's class evaluations. I didn't know that you guys were going to evaluate me. I should have been nicer, man.
Oh, man.
Second thing.
I should have eaten less onions. You know, I used to have one of those teachers. She'd smoke and eat things with onions all the time. You didn't want to ask her any questions. That's all I gotta say. You'd be like, "Oh, Miss Bailey, no." Sorry.
What
I
did you
digress.
say?
So
If you're American when you go into the bathroom, and if you're American when you come out of the bathroom, what are you when you're in the bathroom?
you're Asian.
European.
Ba-dum-bum. Okay, so I have a friend whose that joke was actually new in the 80s, right? When I was young. I have a friend whose parents met because she told him that joke
That's
at a party. Yep.
You know
So-
what? That is how you determine.
Yeah.
your
That was
future partner.
that was Luke's parents.
Really.
Luke's parents met that way. All right.
Oh,
Hope, did you have a joke?
No, but I had a question.
Oh, real one? Like that would like work? Okay, fine. Go for it.
It's like not pertinent.
No, not pertinent to the video? Oh. Does anybody else have anything pertinent to the video? Or just funny? Okay.
You.
So, aw, you're so sweet.
That was